Welcome, beautiful people, to the podcast Tea Time and Soul Talk with Ella Aria Shanta. It's been almost a month since we were on the lockdown, and this experience brought a new understanding of life and how precious our experience on earth is, how we function, what are our beliefs, what are our expectations and desires, and our basic need to survive has shown to us what kind of human beings we are. So in this episode, I will talk about desires and expectations and share one of my personal story and what I've learned from it. Let's talk about it. So desires can be explained as emotionally charged wishes. So mentally we wish for something, a situation that is pleasing to ours, or a goal we need to achieve, or material object, or person we want to possess, or whatever our aim of our wish is. It basically starts from a place where we think we need something in order for us to be happy or satisfied. But once we start to charge that wish with emotions and create an attachment, it becomes a desire. It holds a strong bond, almost like a relationship between ourselves and the object of our desire, which then creates an attachment, and the result is a karmic bond. You see, you can say that desires has two purposes. One is to fulfill our need, whatever we believe that will make us happy, and the other is attach us to a material world. As desire is created in the mind, thus its purpose is limited, and in such, it is an expression that we can compare to a relationship between a slave that serves its master, the mind. Let me explain. We need to ask ourselves, where does a desire come from? Who is the one that desires things and why? Can we answer that? Most of the time we wish for convenient, more comfortable situations, material things, possessions, abilities, or personal traits, and so on. Basically all the things we do not believe we possess or things we want in our possession. In a gist, we want power. And this type of power comes from fear. We want things as we believe they will make us happy. And the string of desires for things is never ending. We can compare it to the feeding of this giant dragon that is content for a very short time, or it complains that the meal is not on time or not of the right amount, etc. And as such, it is never fully satisfied. So desire is an emotion like a dragon that needs to be fed all the time, needs our attention. How many times a day do we consciously or subconsciously think about what we want? Many, many times. When it's just an image, a vision, a wish that has no emotional thrust, we can let it go. Just like you would let go of a balloon. But once it occupies our senses and becomes attached to that vision, and it becomes our main focus, that desire then builds, and with it, our expectations. Now, if you're asking me, is it wrong to wish for things? I will answer in two parts. First, are you sure that that is something you want, or even something that is your main aim in life? Here I'm not talking about a dress in the window or a slice of cake you really want to taste. I'm talking about desires now. And the second, how do you know that that will actually make you happy? Of course, as humans, we have tendencies of desiring things. It starts at an early age. When a child says, I want this, I want that, and we give it to him or her. So child starts to ask for even more things, and then that becomes a habit, part of his her system, and in the end, a part of our programming. And all these nice ads we see on the TV, the net, and magazines are just influencing that mind, and the master becomes hungry even more with all these choices, until we become slaves to our desire. Thus, do not follow the inner reason, but we become slave to our inner senses and the mind. You see, what we want and what we need are two completely different things. We might think we need a family, that specific job, adventure, passion, or person to love, certain material things. But how do we know that that is what is truly good for us? How do we know that that decision will bring us to our final destination? We don't. Why? Because we truly do not know who we are. So how can we then know what is rooted in us? What is it that we really want? And the side effect of our desire might be that our wish might actually come true. But will it happen the way we wanted it? When and where we wanted it? Will it manifest the way we've imagined it? We might have limited ourselves with that desire. We might have lost a better opportunity along the way because our mind was so stuck in the position where it feels that this is the best choice. But what does the mind know? With all that's being said, that doesn't mean we lose our focus or abandon our discipline in achieving our goals or dreams, or sometimes even become complacent in the process. It just means that we do not attach ourselves to the result. You see, when we attach ourselves to our desire, we become the slaves of our ego and mind. We become unhappy and frustrated when our needs are not met and our desires not fulfilled. Why? Because we create expectations. Expectation is the result of attaching ourselves with our ego mindset to our desire. We basically think we know what's best for us, and we expect that to come true. I have worked hard, I deserve this. I have put time and effort into it, I deserve that. I've been a good person, and so on. We put ourselves in a position of authority, and that mindset is dangerous. Like I've said, if you truly know what you need, and that is the sole purpose of your life's path, as they say, you shall receive. But if you try to control the outcome, the result of how it's going to be manifested, you will most likely be disappointed and hurt. As desires are created in the mind is filled with fear. Thus, desires are mostly created out of fear. If we have no fear, we do not desire for things of limitation because we have faith that we shall receive what we need when we need. And we will trust that when it's the right time and if it's the best for us to receive, it will happen. Therefore, there is no attachment. Therefore, there is no pain. And thus, we are free. There is also another deeper reason. Desires of the mind and desires of the soul differentiate. So we have to ask ourselves, who am I? Am I my mind or am I the soul? Who is the authority in this relationship? Soul's desire is very simple, whereas mind is like a hamster running in the wheel, not knowing how many laps it has run. When we do not see that with clarity and accept this awareness, we receive lessons. You can say blessing disguised as teachings. I will explain it based on my story. One of my long-time desires is to have a house. I have always lived in apartment buildings, small flats, small rooms, and sometimes flats had only one window, no balcony, or sometimes a small one but no view. So I dreamt of having a house and having a yard with flowers and trees, a beautiful view, and some type of water close by. As a house for me represented stability, an anchor, a shelter, and also my connection to nature as I love natural elements. And one day, my previous partner showed me this old house, a fixer-upper, that had a big terrace, a beautiful limitless view, and flowers and trees, and you can also see a river. But it needed a lot of work. As my partner at that time didn't have a regular job and a steady income, neither did I, as I was studying, we couldn't afford to renovate it the way we wanted. We could only buy the house and make some basic adjustments in the living space. 2 days before signing the contract, I felt sick. I was feeling so anxious, and everything in me screamed, "Don't sign it. This is not the right choice." But I was so afraid that I will never have the opportunity to live in a house, even in this old house, that I ignored my screaming feeling and signed. The house was so much work. We had to remove all the old furniture by ourselves, no friends, just the two of us. And I'm quite strong, but I worked as I would have been a man. I have done so many things, lifted such heavy things that only a man could. Not because I was so strong, but because my will was so strong. I was so focused to fix this house and make it livable that I didn't eat well and I didn't take care of myself. I couldn't sleep and I became insomniac. Every night I would dream how to fix the house, how to get the money. I became obsessed with it, to the point where I felt my body being on fire. I stopped having faith in my partner and his ability to earn money, and all I was able to see is that it will take at least 10 years to fix it the way I want it. It was suffocating. I couldn't focus on my studies and work and develop atopic dermatitis. And that was a wake-up call. So I moved out, and after just 2 weeks I felt better, and I slowly came to my senses. And that led me to the decision of not going back to that house and the relationship. And life became more peaceful. That can be an extreme example, but is it? My desire to have a house was born out of fear. So my mind created an expectation of how I wanted it to be manifested and started to control my environment. I have clung to the idea of the house, but could not handle the house itself, as I wanted it everything in my own way. You could say I lacked patience, but we as human, are we patient? Can we be tolerant of each other, let alone ourselves? Do we trust ourselves or others? Are we without fear? No, most of us are not. So, as I haven't listened to my soul talking to me, as it was saying, if you choose this direction and you follow your desire based on fear and attachment, you will be hurt, as expectations of your mind will not be met. I have experienced just that, a hard lesson about fear, desire, expectations, and lack of trust. But it also taught me about my true desire, my soul's desire. What is the soul's desire? I guess everybody can explain it differently, but for me, soul's desire is to love and to be close or merge with the source of that love. And it will do anything to bring you closer to that love. And that desire is rooted in love. There is no attachment other than its source. It's not limited. It has no expectations. There is no pain and suffering, and thus it's liberating. I have had numerous lessons on this account, and I can honestly say desires, if you do not let them go, they become an attachment, thus expectations. And those expectations can be very, very, very painful. And experiences taught me to be simple in my wishes. It taught me to monitor my emotional input and to simply do my best to achieve my goal and then let it go. And trust that it will take me where I need to go. And the more I let it go of what my mind wants, the more I can hear the gentle sound of my soul's desire. And that brings me so much joy and peace. In conclusion, think about what is it that you truly need in your life? What can bring you closer to love and your true self? And if your wish for material things and limited things, do everything to achieve it, but do it with love and joy, not out of fear. And then, after you have done everything you could, you give it to Him. You send all your expectations and place it at His feet. Leave it up to Him how that will be manifested. If that is even what needs to be fulfilled in the first place. Because if you truly detached from your expectation, no matter the result, you will feel no pain but gratitude, because only your Creator knows you best. Dear friends, in this spirit of great change, I hope you can turn inwardly and look at your true desires and let go of the mind's expectations and breathe and show gratitude for the lessons you've been given and share your love with others. I thank you for listening and sharing your time with me. In the next episode, I will talk about willingness and discipline. Till next time, stay safe. This is Tea Time and Soul Talk with Ella Aria Shanta.